Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special council meeting tonight. Usually my favorite council meeting of the year when we do local awards to Town of Prescott. We do have a couple of things on the agenda. We have one thing before the awards, but we'll try and get through that. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. The time is 6 o'clock. Next item is approval of the agenda. Motion reads that the agenda for the special council meeting of Monday, July 29, 2024 be approved as presented. Mover and seconder, Deputy Mayor Young, Councillor McConnell. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. I welcome Councillor Kirkby via Zoom from Texas. Looks hot there.
It's warm.
It's warm.
There too.
Item 3 is declaration of interest. Any declarations of interest tonight? Seeing none, we're going to move on. We do have one staff report tonight. It's staff report 58-2024, the Prince Street Field Cricket Pitch. This report is from our Manager of Community Services, Samantha Jodwin Miller, and our Director of Operations, Nathan Richard. The recommendation reads that Council approve a community grant of up to $2,800 to the Brockville Prescott Cricket Club for the purchase of a portable cricket pitch to be used in Prescott and payable upon proof of purchase. Can I have a mover and seconder for discussion, please? Councillor Burton, Councillor Campbell, thank you. Who's going to speak to the report first? Sam, the floor is yours.
Okay. We wanted to provide council with a bit of a background in terms of the historical usage, the maintenance practices, and the current usage and condition of the street field. So historically, the Prince Street Field, also known as the Ed Brown Field and the Tom Carr Memorial Field, has served multiple purposes over time. It was originally established as a pristine hardball diamond, and it had eventually transitioned into both a diamond and a soccer field. And as we now know, bleachers interested play cricket on this field as well. Historically, the hardball diamond, which was almost regulation size, was used primarily by Prescott residents. In talking to several different users, it's very, very evident that it was a source of pride for many people when Brockville was, when baseball was very active in the town. Throughout the years, it was home to hardball, little league, blooper ball, and donkey baseball. And if you don't know what donkey baseball is, I suggest you talk to Mr. Dixon because he can give you a good story about what donkey baseball is. I was surprised. Over time, as the community interest shifted, soccer became more popular in town and baseball kind of faded out. And that is when we saw that the addition of the soccer field to the Prince Street area. When we look at the maintenance practices historically with the Prince Street Field, it very much was a collaboration between the town as well as the users. And so the basic maintenance, such as mowing, setting up the goals, adding the bleachers, that was handled by municipal staff, while more sport-related maintenance was handled by the users themselves. So users would come in, they would line the fields. They bought their own brick dust. They did a lot of fundraising in order to be able to make that field what it was. And then when it came to soccer, the users still currently paint the lines all themselves. So we do still maintain the grass, and they come in and they paint the lines, the soccer lines themselves. In talking with our operations staff, when that field was active, it was a very steady operational maintenance task. Since the field hasn't been as active, it is considered to be more of a high maintenance field to maintain. Currently, the field is still used as a community asset. So in the past 3 years, both the men's and women's Gunners teams have been using it. I'm saying 3 years, that's the time that I've been here and working with these organizations. They have been using the field longer. I did play there as well. Those teams are no longer using the field. They've amalgamated with Brockville and Kingston. And as we know, Prescott District Soccer doesn't use that field as they play out of the high school. However, the Brockville Soccer Club, which is a competitive organization and does encompass area competitive players, which Prescott doesn't have a competitive team, they have used the field regularly throughout April and May this year. They also have a team still using the field on Wednesday evenings this year. They've expressed interest in booking the fields in the future for their preseason. We were one of the first fields to open up. So they have expressed booking it again in the future. And as their organization grows, if it's an opportunity to continue booking that field, they may have interest in that as well. As we know, the cricket group has come forward to request this field for use. They are looking at Saturdays and Sundays, and they typically play between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. Their season starts in May and they run through October. They're also interested in hosting a tournament this year, if feasible, and I believe they discussed around 10 to 15 teams in that tournament. Cricket is a very fast-growing sport. It's similar to pickleball for a pickleball here. But it is a fast-growing sport. We did put an example in here, and I know Brampton is not comparable to Prescott, but it does have, just to give you an example of how the sport is growing. In the GTA, there are more and more fields popping up. Brampton has 20 and are looking to build more. So it is an up-and-coming sport, and we just wanted to provide you with that information. Nathan will take over operational considerations.
Thanks, Sam. So through the mayor, so there's a couple different options for the pitch. And I think as we thought about this, and it's still being used as a soccer field as well. So we're trying to make sure that we're, can't come up with a solution that was set and satisfy both groups that are using it. So you could have a temporary pitch or a permanent pitch. So temporary pitch will easily allow other uses of the fields. I think it wouldn't really encumber the field much. And there would be a pitch that would be rolled out for each use. So the cricket players would have to roll it out each time. And the cost of a temporary portable pitch is about between $6,000 and $7,000. And it is a big piece of plastic. It's about 75 feet by 10 feet. So again, that allows the other users to enjoy the facility, and also allows ease of maintenance for the town as well. And the other thing is that that temporary pitch could easily be located to other locations if they so desired. So if they had an open field somewhere else within like 100 kilometers, they could take it to that location as well. The permanent pitch would require a fair amount of effort. We would have to, again, it's about 70 by 10 feet. So you have to dig down about a foot. So it's 700 square feet or 700 cubic feet. So it does become a bit of a task. It's not just a couple of shovels. We would need some heavy equipment. So you'd need an excavator and a roller, dump trucks. And so it would be, it's not a simple task. It would be probably a couple of days of work. So we figured it would be, the other thing is that the permanent pitch, we would see if it's going to still be used for soccer, we would want to put like an artificial turf grass on top of that so that it would maintain a reasonable surface for soccer. Again, a permanent pitch also would need proper maintenance with proper equipment, and just to make sure that we're maintaining it properly. So for a permanent one, we would need to, again, have like excavators, dump trucks, lots of gravel, the geotextile cloth as well, kind of on two different surfaces of it, and the artificial turf. So we would see that being the cost would be about $6,000 in materials and about almost $5,000 in equipment and labor, so almost $11,000. I think the other thing that we wanted to mention as well, that this property has been, kind of identified as a potential surplus for the municipality is for future housing. So it could continue to be, could have another life past the sports fields. And that's also taking into account as we develop the sports field north of the new arena. So that will start this fall. So when you take all those factors into account, it doesn't make sense to spend the $12,000 to put in a cricket pitch at this point in time at that location. So that's why we kind of decided, we kind of thought that one of the recommendations that would suit best is to provide the grant funding, and then they could have a pitch that they could utilize anywhere. So some of the, do you want to talk about the next part here, Sam?
So as you see in the report, there are some operational suggestions for council to consider. The first one being designating that field as a bookable field. In the past, it hasn't been a bookable field because we did only have soccer playing it, and they worked amongst themselves. They knew the schedule. There was no overlap. Now that we have multiple organizations involved, it could be a good idea to designate that as a bookable field so that that would just help with ease of scheduling for both the users and staff. In terms of insurance requirements, we've discussed this before, but because this is a municipal field, all users should either be providing insurance coverage or have insurance coverage. This is something that can be done through the town's third-party insurance program. It would be an expense of $5 per booking. That is something that council could consider waiving for this group as they are initially getting started. The third recommendation would be would be to facilitate a permanent or a semi-permanent solution for the cricket pitch, as Nathan has discussed. We continue collaborating with both of the organizations. And then finally, there is $2,800 still remaining in the 2024 Community Grant Fund. As was discussed at the last meeting, both of those intakes have both closed and there will not be another one, but council could decide to allocate the remaining funds to this group. That's everything you can do.
Yeah, I think that's, essentially the alternatives council could decide are to modify or decline the request for the temporary cricket. And we kind of went over the estimated costs and how the community grant funding could assist. So yeah, that's basically the report. If there's any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Any questions for? I have Justin, then I have Councillor McConnell.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Shankar. Are you saying that am I hearing that the cost to the town would be $6,000 now instead of just the $2,800 being requested from the community grants?
No, the cost, what we would recommend is that the community grant would be the $2,800, and then the cricket group would make up the rest of the cost to get a temporary pitch.
So the 2,800 would be minus whatever. We would just give the 2,800 and that's it.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Upon proof of purchase, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Given the extensive amount of our insurance, it just doesn't seem reasonable to me that it's $5 for them. Is this $5 a person or $5 for the field?
So we have a third-party insurance and it's for users of our facilities. It costs about $2,000 a year. And so to break that down, we do it $5 per event or per use, but not $5 per person.
If I may, again, going back to pickleball. So is this what we're using for the people playing pickleball in the arena?
Because pickleball is being run by the town, then the town's insurance covers it. If it was a third party running it, so not the town, that's when this special policy comes into play.
I see. Okay, thank you. If I may. Justin hit on something there that I was wondering about as well, and that was the cost of this apparently removable, is it? What is it called? The pitch?
Portable pitch, yeah.
Portable pitch, yes. And is this something that has to be stored somewhere, or what? Is there a place for us to store it? Are they storing it, or what happens with it?
I think the plan would be to potentially store it in the building that's there at that park. There's a building there.
Is it big enough to do that?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. I guess it bothers me a bit that we would be supplying 2,800 roughly. I guess that's what we have for a private group that could move their pitch anywhere they wanted it. As Nathan mentioned, there were already the Brockville Prescott, as you mentioned when they were visiting us, Mayor Shankar. Instead of the Prescott only
Mhm.
cricket club or Prescott Rockville. So there's something about that that bothers me as well. The other thing is, according to my understanding of our community grant structure, they don't qualify. They can't supply any kind of a financial thing that we asked for. I I'm excited to have cricket in town, but I think this group, which is loose, shall we say, or loosely put together, is a little ahead of things. I think that going forward, they should take the winter to get their stuff together, to get a formal organization, to raise funds, because I was here when the Gunners came to us and wanted to adapt the Ed Brown Field for soccer. And essentially, we didn't have to do anything other than give them the field and agree to cut the grass. These people are looking for a substantial amount of our funds, as well as possibly disrupting whatever soccer people are using it now. If I may, are we charging the outside groups for use of the field, or are they just using it?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Currently, no, we're not charging for that, for use of that field.
I see. Okay, well, personally speaking, I wish them well. I would like to see them come back next spring with better organization, but I'm not prepared to advance town funds at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Can I just ask one question of Ms. Miller? Does Brockville paying the insurance, or do they have their own insurance? Brockville Soccer?
They have,
Yeah, no?
they provide their own insurance. They are an established organization similar to minor hockey or the Prescott Bakersfield Club, something similar.
Thank you. Ms. Lockett?
I have the same kind of concerns as the others. I went through the whole thing and I would have felt a lot more comfortable if the committee had had a meeting like we did with all the other applications. And Councillor McConnell's right, they don't qualify for our actual grant. I love to see them in town. I think it's great and I think it's something we can build on. But I think we should let them continue using the field the way it is. But I agree that they need to sort of get together, get a committee, start charging their players. They have no way to fundraise. And if we give them 2,800, how are they going to get the other 3,000 to put this $6,000 thing in? I mean, if they could come up with 3,000 for that, they could probably come up with 3,000 to do. So I just think at this time, I'm happy that they're in town. I'd like to encourage them to stay in town and get more organized and come back to us next year.
Thank you. Mr. Armstrong, can you just speak to whether they qualify or not, or how?
So it's certainly a gray area. So when they were here, I believe they did mention that they had an organizing body of 5 individuals. So I kind of likened that to a board. They aren't able to provide any financials because they're not charging anyone. But there wasn't any rule against them not kind of being as a startup. So yeah, I would say it's a bit of a gray area, but at the same time, council can decide to either waive those requirements or to see that they fit within them.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell?
Through you, Mayor Shanker, I agree with what's being said. It's just the timing of it. Like, we do have a community grant committee and the process is that they apply with the forms, they go through the committee, then the committee comes to council with a recommendation. So I'm just thinking the timing is just off. I know they want to host a tournament, but it's just, I agree, they should get organized. I didn't see any evidence of 5 board members, so that's okay. There's also, are they provincially affiliated with like a Cricket Ontario? Because a lot of sports are affiliated with provincial organizations. My concern again is that property could potentially be slated for development, so we're pouring money into something that might not last. And I just think they're not ready and propose for them to apply next year. And I agree, it's a great thing to have a new sport in town.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. My concern is the payable upon proof of purchase. So like, how long would we hang on to that $2,800? You know, if they didn't purchase it this year, then we'd be carrying it over to next year. And then where does what does that kind of look like? You know, again, I feel the same way. Cricket would be great to have in Prescott, but it may be a little, because of that, the payable upon proof of purchase, that kind of concerns me. And then it would be one more field too for us to look after.
We're already looking at.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Councillor Kirkby?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Shankar, just a couple comments. Outside of what I've heard from the cricket club is one is Brockville Soccer is using Prescott Fields for free, which wouldn't be the case if a Prescott organization went to Brockville. There would be a user fee attached to that. And then as far as the cricket club, I kind of agree that they seem pretty early in their stages. I'm wondering though, is there a compromise where we could, we're cutting the grass on, could we trim the pitch section much lower to the ground so it's not, it's a little harder, versus putting anything there. I know I did a little bit of research, and that is something that some of the other communities have done is they do cut the field short, but the actual pitch is cut very short to the ground to make it a little more user-friendly for the tennis balls or whatever they're using. I believe they said that pretty much all of the communities that they play against are still using the tennis ball format. Just wondering if that's something that maybe we could do to meet them kind of halfway.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with that's a great idea, but they need it hard because they bounce the ball off it, right? The ball bounces. And if it's not smooth, it's not going to bounce true. So that's why they either want to use the stone dust, 6 inches of stone dust, or which 6 inches of stone dust isn't going to work for the soccer players. I don't want someone running across and all of a sudden hit the stone dust, different puttings. But
I don't think they have to worry. Yeah, sorry.
No. I agree with everyone that, they are young, but they've got to start somewhere. We're trying to open up the town to new ideas and new adventures, and a cricket tournament in town will be the first of its kind. It'll be kind of interesting to see. The $2,800 is sitting there that we haven't earmarked it for anybody. I know that it's usually through the community grants, but it's sitting there. So it's up to council. You have further questions?
Just something Justin said rang a bell with me here as far as and you as well, the Carter Center. The lawn bowling club has a roller which is not being used, which I'm sure the lawn bowling club, which is defunct as of this time, would have no problem moving over there to use. We also have a very short cutting self-propelled lawnmower, which has been used in several years, but might be usable. So I think Justin's suggestions, meeting them halfway or even trying that is possible with equipment that is in the community that isn't being used.
That's great.
Thank you. I thought I'd chime in here since I'm sitting back and listening to everybody. 15 years ago, I started a co-ed hockey league. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know how to run ice, but I had to start somewhere. So what I did is I, called around different people and what they were doing in Brockville, what I could do in Prescott. And long story short, I think these two gentlemen, are pretty excited about starting a new sport here in Prescott. Could we help them out? Absolutely. I think they put the cart before the horse.
They definitely need to do a little bit more research on how to accomplish this. And are they talking to the Brockville Council? We don't really know. And asking them if it's going to be a Brockville Prescott Cricket Club, maybe there's some opportunities there. To me, I think that maybe we could work with them a little bit. Like Councilor McConnell said, maybe, cutting the grass lower, just trying that out first and seeing if we can accomplish a little bit before their major tournament. But, I mean, I kind of have a soft spot on people that want to start a new sport in town. So helping them out with the $2,800 to see if they could talk to the Brockville Council, do some fundraising and move forward with the league. So I will be supporting this. I know the conversation around the table, but I like to be able to support new initiatives in our town.
The thing with the 2,800 too is like, we're not just gonna write them a check for 2,800.
No.
They've got to go buy it. So they're gonna have to fundraise. They're gonna have to come up with the difference. And until they buy it, then we would, use a community grant fund. I mean, again, I'm for it as well, but again, like you said, they're new and yeah, they're pretty rough around the edges, not knowing who to talk to, new in town, don't know anybody. You lived here 15 years before you started that, so you know a lot of people.
Yeah.
They don't know anybody and they come out here and let's just ask and see what happens. So will of council, is there any other questions around the table? So we do have a motion on the floor. We've all had a chance to speak to it. Why don't we just call the question and see where it goes? So I'm going to call the question. I'll read it again. The council approve a community grant of up to $2,800 for the Brockville Prescott Cricket Club for the purchase of a portable cricket pitch to be used in Prescott and payable upon proof of purchase. So call the question. All those in favor? Okay, and opposed? All right, not carried. Thank you very much. We'll reach out to them, staff, and see where we can go from here. Okay. Best part of the evening is about to occur. So we've got 3 awards tonight for the town of Prescott. We have Business of the Year, Citizen of the Year, and Volunteers of the Year. I called it volunteers because it's pretty heartwarming who they are. So we're going to start there. Every Wednesday, King's Kitchen Volunteers prepares warm dinners for the community. This complimentary program is always well attended, and the volunteers maintain an inviting atmosphere for all members of the community in attendance. Every week, a delicious meal is offered free of charge to all residents of Prescott and the surrounding area, regardless of social status, financial status, or religious affiliation. We thank this amazing group who come together and volunteer their time week after week in our community. So I'm going to have Carol, Sue, Jacob, whoever wants to come up, and what we'll do is we'll do a quick pick here, but then we can do a pick with all of council and all the award winners in the reception room. Sound good?
I'll go in here. Right?
Yeah, I guess.
They're on the phone.
Makes everybody smile. Absolutely.
I think we should.
No,
Let's get it. Let me get out of here.
thank you. We love being in this community and we love to help. And we really appreciate all the support.
We're grateful, and I don't think we had attended as a council, but next year we will attend as a council in September, October.
Just
And we have no idea who nominated us, so it was came as a complete surprise, so
Well deserved.
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Aw.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Nina.
Yeah, thank you.
Here, you walk with Jacob. Favorite. Yeah, really.
Congratulations, King's Kitchen. Okay, next is our Citizen of the Year.
Chair, right?
Vicky Sargent has been a volunteer with the South Grenville Minor Hockey Association for 25+ years. Vicky has held a variety of roles within SGMHA, including acting president, and the association has flourished with the help of Vicky's leadership. She has volunteered with the Leo Boyven Showcase for over 20 years, with 14 of them as chair or acting chair. It is impossible to measure the time and effort Vicky has put into ensuring the association runs smoothly over the years, but we would like to wish her well in her retirement and thank her for her continued dedication to our community. Vicky, is it true you're going to start playing pickleball?
Practice.
Come on up, Vicky. Vicky has decided not to do a speech. Okay. All right, congratulations, Vicky Sargent. So next is Business of the Year. Since 1978, Kriska Transportation Group has specialized in cross-border freight. Kriska boasts over 100 inside employees, 20 mechanics, and a team of planner/dispatchers providing 24/7 coverage. Kriska recently celebrated their 45th anniversary and is the biggest employer in the town of Prescott, playing a vital role in the community by employing residents of Prescott and the surrounding area. Kriska is I almost said cricket. Kriska is deeply committed to social responsibility and community support through their numerous donations to local charities, donating their refrigerated trailer for events and for the incredible donation of the land now known as the home of the Elaine Chartrand Community Center and the future site of the Seymour Recreational Complex. They are a local staple in our community, and we thank them for their commitment to our small town. Congratulations, Kriska Transportation Group.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mayor Shaker, and thank you. And council,
Get out of the way.
Kriska has been in Prescott for 37 years. A lot of our employees actually live here. We'd like to, our company and our employees like to support the town and are very thankful for the other organizations, other companies that are here that would be just as deserving of the award. So thank you very much.
Congratulations.
And now we're able.
Congratulations, Kriska Transportation Group. So next is questions from the media. Tim, you have any questions?
I'm here as a resident of Prescott, Melissa. Thank you.
Okay. You'll always be a media guy for me. Item 7 is the confirming bylaw. The recommendation reads that bylaw 33-2024 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the special council meeting held on July 29, 2024, be read and passed, signed by the mayor and deputy clerk, and sealed by the seal of the corporation. Moved by Councilor Burton, seconded by Councilor Campbell. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Item 8 is adjournment. The recommendation reads that the meeting be adjourned to Monday, August 12th at 6 p.m. The time is now 6:35 p.m. That will be moved by Councilor Kirkby. Always, seconded by Deputy Mayor Young. All in favor? Great. Carried, thank you. We have a reception right next door. Everyone is